Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator. Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com. This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome to the Astrology Table podcast.
Please take a seat.
This is Rachel.
This is Jordan.
And this is April.
And this is the Astrology Table podcast. And we are talking about the new moon in Pisces at 9 degrees of Pisces happening Thursday, the 27th of February at 6:45 p.m. But before we jump in, let's talk about the last lunar cycle, y'all.
Woo! How'd it go for everybody? How are we feeling?
Well, Rachel and I both quit things.
Hell yeah, we did.
Yeah, I saw that.
on the full moon, exactly.
On the full moon in Leo.
Really?
Yeah.
Leo
fucking
rising's
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Leo
Yeah, I
risings.
mean, you got to just do it.
But I think especially that highlighted the sort of, I don't know, this Mars retrograde-y thing, right? Mars started its retrograde in Leo and it's still retrograde. So I left my job.
How do you feel? How do you both feel? That's a big.
Hers
That
is way
can
bigger.
feel like a big decision.
She quit her whole job. I
Yeah.
quit a tiny. I quit a
It's
client.
still important. Yeah.
It's still important,
Yeah.
but I boundary set. That's
Okay.
why I have boundary setting as my
Oh.
like big thing. Just being triggered. I've been triggered more in the past few weeks than I think I have in the past year. So yeah,
Second that.
Yeah.
Second that. No, I feel super stoked.
Okay.
yeah.
Good.
It's like choosing myself and betting on myself, which is a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like I'm not working for anyone else. I'm going to be
No.
working full-time astrology, full-time meditation, full-time yoga, full-time sound, just full-time being myself professionally. And so I decided to take it a step further, and I literally joined the Waco Chamber of Commerce as an astrologer, y'all.
Oh my God. Congrats. That's incredible.
They accepted
whoa.
my
Yeah.
membership, and so I'm like officially,
Fuck yeah.
I'm an ambassador for the chamber, and I'm an astrologer.
That is
Like,
incredible.
That's my job.
Think how far we have come, you guys.
Oh my God. That's so cool. I know the astrologer at the Waco Chamber of Commerce.
And it's just all working out, and my whole family is supporting me, so I feel great about that. In addition to hosting a giant event, so I like hosted a 70+ person event, and that was fun.
Yeah.
It worked out. Like this full moon in Leo did really well. But I mean, Jordan, you've got a lot down here. So
Yeah, it was kind of mush kind of that I just spewed out, but it was kind of I've been really tired and like mentally exhausted. I think I'm just like ready in general, just kind of like, I think astrologically that makes sense, but also like I'm just over winter time. Like I think we discussed this on the last episode. I'm just kind of ready for spring, to like some renewal, some warmth, some like energy.
I second that for
Right.
sure.
I've been really focused on setting like really small, doable goals for myself and not being ashamed that they're small. And then, you know, speaking out loud of like things that I want. You know, I tend to like talk to my friends about my dreams and my hopes and things that I want, but I've been trying to do that with myself as well. And so trying not to overwhelm myself too much just because I've been so tired. But working on my fitness, my personal fitness, that's been going really good. That's been small. I've only been going like a couple times a week. And then I've been working on my art just when I can, not pushing myself too hard. So didn't really have like a lot kind of going on this full moon, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. I don't think I would have had the energy for it, to be honest.
I feel kind of a common theme
Yeah.
of choosing yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess setting boundaries on like certain things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not overextending myself, trusting myself is a big thing.
And listeners, if you hear little crinkles in the backgrounds, we have little Capri Suns right now.
Thank you, Rachel.
Appropriate for the moon in Pisces with Saturn and Neptune, nostalgia central here.
Yes. And juice, a liquid. I'm drinking Pacific Cooler.
I have fruit punch.
Strawberry kiwi.
See, we each get our own special flavor.
Absolutely. Well, before we start the this moon, April, tell me a little bit more about just like some of the stuff that
Yeah,
you've been
so
going through.
it's been a lot of stripping down and releasing. I've mentioned on previous episodes, I'm gearing up to do a plant medicine retreat, and that will happen right before this new moon. So I am sober is the day I was born and feeling all the feelings, which is very new moon in Pisces. And it's just super raw. I think I feel like I'm a raw nerve just existing. I had to pray like a energetic bubble around myself this morning. So I'm like, I'm not going to be able to go into a meeting and not cry.
Yeah, because you're so vulnerable right now.
Because I'm so vulnerable. Yeah. And it's like I'm realizing how much, and I feel like this is definitely related to this Saturn-Neptune situation that we're going to get into, but self-medicating, how much I self-medicate, not knowingly. Like I'm not trying to numb out, but like that cup of coffee that keeps me from feeling how tired I am, that like 5 o'clock cocktail that just like relaxes me a little bit, that like a little bit of cannabis in the evening to relax and go to sleep. Like all of those things are me not doing work to face what I need to face. It's using substances to numb out or disassociate.
Yeah. That's crazy that you say that. I actually have been thinking about that probably in the last week. I think about it every now and then, but how much I numb myself. And I'm like, what parts of myself am I suppressing? Like, what am I escaping from right now?
Well, you won't know until you go off of it. And holy cow, it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's like
your eyes shooting open like suddenly. Like,
yeah.
from, like
It's a little terrifying.
Okay.
Yeah, I did dry January for the most part.
Yeah.
Asterisk for the most part.
Sure.
We took a break
Allegedly.
when I was on my cycle. So, but
yeah.
it was like that. Although I found that going back to a little bit, as in like right now, I'm not trying to have a bunch of cocktails,
Right.
a bunch of marijuana. And in the past, I was like a girl who'd be like, give me a joint, give me another joint. And like, how about a third joint? Like we can do that. And literally the going back to it, it's like, absolutely not. Like definitely much less.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I don't need.
Setting hard boundaries.
Yeah, just as a good reset. And then then it's a choice. Then you're saying, I know what it feels. I know what my baseline of neutral is. So I can say a little bit of this is enough. You can feel how much altered your state of mind is or your emotional state can be with just that like one hit or one drink. And I think it's just a good idea to like figure out what your baseline is.
Yeah, it brings a really good like literal self-awareness.
Yeah.
Of like how you're feeling in that moment.
Totally.
I think also, I mean, we're recording this early, guys, like a little bit early so we could all be here. But this lunar cycle's events have also in the news, in the world, been insane. And being a full moon in Leo syzygy that we're in, I think it's been appropriate that most of the news has involved world leaders.
Yes.
Right? Like,
oh yeah,
Trump going around doing all kinds of stuff. You know, Ukraine pretty much pulling out of talks between the United States and Russia and supposedly Ukraine that were taking place in Saudi Arabia. There's been another plane crash, yet another one, in Canada this time.
Wow.
And there's been a lot of different European leaders, like Keir Starmer from the UK is already talking about sending troops to Ukraine. Like it's just a whole world leader conflict time. That's
Lots
like
of
pretty much
tension.
all the
Yeah.
news.
Lots of tension.
USAID being completely defunded, basically. Thousands of federal workers losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Elon Musk trying to take over the IRS.
Yep.
So a lot of big people making big moves, but I'm stoked that we're talking as a natal moon in Pisces about the new moon in Pisces, because this moon at 9 degrees of Pisces is 1 degree from my natal moon, y'all.
Oh,
It's a Rachel-y moon.
how exciting.
So are you 8 degrees or 10 degrees then?
I'm 8.
You're 8. I love that.
And Pisces is our mutable water sign ruled by Jupiter. It's the last sign in the zodiac, represented by the dual fish. It rules the ankles, the feet, and the lymphatic system. And the closest aspect that this new moon is making is a square to the ruler Jupiter at 12 degrees of Gemini. And I like this. I love
I do
moons
too.
configured to Jupiter as their closest aspect. And even though this is a square, it still feels kind of like okay, well, this is going to be something good. You're just going to have to move.
Right. It's a little bit more flexible, maybe.
You might have to do something to access those cash and prizes, but it feels a little bit like something good.
Yeah, like you can adapt to it. I mean,
Adaptation.
Pisces is mutable, so you get that flexibility a little bit.
Good call
maybe.
out. I have down that this is like a rite of passage moment, forcing a new perspective, that it's learning through experience. So just like you
Yes.
said, the doing, you're learning through the action, you're getting somewhere through the action. And I love this concept of rite of passage because it's powerful. It's a moment. It is substantial. It's beautiful, but it's also usually hard.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we really do this culturally, but it could be a quest. It could be something really important in your own personal journey that you need to accomplish and move through to see that new perspective, to get a paradigm shift.
Ooh, maybe like the fool's journey.
The
I
fool's
literally-
journey.
I almost wrote rite of passage, but I couldn't think of the expression. And I was like, coming of age isn't right.
That's hilarious.
That's not the right
Y'all
thing.
are on the same wavelength
Yeah,
with
we
this one.
totally are.
Yeah.
And Pisces is like that because it's mutable water. Like it can be like communicating through telepathy.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. My mom is a Pisces and she's so deeply intuitive. She will read, she would talk about having loud thoughts, how either she would and I would pick up on what my parents, I would like know things and like, we didn't tell you that.
You're like, yeah, you did.
And it's like, we must have had loud thoughts or vice versa. She would just know things about me. And it's just like the energetic is there. So you're hearing it, you're seeing it.
I love that.
And then asking the Pisces question, did the thought start in either one of you or was it existing outside of both of you?
And we both, right. That's a great
Ooh.
question. Ooh.
The mystery. I like that. This is fun.
Yeah.
So
The mystery.
Yeah.
And speaking of the mystery, this moon is also co-present with Saturn, Mercury, the North Node, and the most mysterious of them all, Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like there is some weighty Saturn consequences, North Node, that we will have on our minds, Mercury, and that will just be like super present in the awareness, in the ether, in the consciousness collectively.
Mm.
But I think it might not be like super simple. If you think of a rite of passage, it's definitely a waypoint. Like it's not insignificant, right? It's consequential, and that means it's like got this depth to it.
There's a before and after. Yeah, I love this. I have this feels like a dream, like dream meets reality theme. So with Saturn involved, like Neptune is so dreamy. It's like it dissolves and evolves and is mystery. Like it's just ooey gooey. It's love at first sight. It's a fever dream, kind of thing. But with Saturn involved there, you're going to things become real. It's taking that that emotional kind of like vibes and making it an action plan. So this could even be like some hard lessons, some discipline and grounding in conflict with that idealism. So I just feel like if you've been caught between fantasy and pragmatism, now's the time to get realistic and take an inspired approach to getting it done.
Could it be almost like experiencing an awakening?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like coming awake. It's like realizing your dreams, either that something you've always longed for. It's like, oh, I I know exactly what I'm doing here, or that's not my dream at all. Like
Right.
that's not even
Like, how do I even
correct for
navigate
me.
that? Yeah.
But it's like understanding either this is a hard yes or a hard no. It's
Okay.
understanding constriction or boundaries around something that you're longing for, something you're hoping for.
Okay.
Well, and especially, I love that point, April, because the ruler of this moon, Jupiter, is in
Mhm.
detriment in Gemini, and it's recently direct. So it's kind of stationary direct. But to me, that's this beginning to understand thing, or maybe like the clearing up of confusion. So perhaps we had a pie in the sky idea and we've acted upon it, and then it can be like, oh, absolutely not. Or an idea we maybe thought was pie in the sky, Rachel being an astrologer full time. You realize, no, like I actually made a pro forma and a business plan, and this is totally achievable, and I can actually be taken seriously doing this. You know, it could be both. And
Absolutely. And I think you just figure out, investigate kind of where you are with it.
Yeah.
Like, so Jordan, for your art, like maybe this is when you sit down and actually like put pen to paper and create the plan.
Yeah, I come out of limbo because
Yeah.
I've just been floating, allowing myself to float in limbo.
Because I think for you, we know now that's not a pie in the sky dream. That's actually
Right.
your authentic self, like wanting to be seen.
Yeah.
There's just the conflict of like, well, how do I make a living? How do I?
Gosh. Yeah. So many like fears. I think for me,
Yeah.
it's just like a lot of fear and self-doubt and a complete lack of discipline.
And I think we can really kind of feel into the idea that this area of the zodiac, just Pisces, not 9 degrees of Pisces, is the future site of Venus's upcoming retrograde and Mercury's upcoming retrograde. So there's definitely going to be getting hearts and minds on the same page.
Yeah.
And we have to rethink and refeel, or relearn some things about this Pisces sector of our charts, which does embody the creative and the mystical and the magical and the intuitive.
Oh, I love it. That's to me, that's like the most like fun part, is like having the faith, whatever your faith is, but like having that faith and actually like believing it and allowing yourself to believe it.
I feel like that's a great question for this moon, is what do you believe?
Yeah.
What do you really
Like, who are you and what do you believe?
What do you believe about yourself?
Yeah.
And what do you believe about the world around
Yeah,
you?
your reality.
The internal and the
Yeah.
external.
I
That's
definitely
good.
think that there will be some major breakthroughs on this day too,
I
because
agree.
on the same day as the moon, Mercury will sextile Uranus. And we love a good Mercury sextile to Uranus because they both kind of govern ideas and expression.
Yeah.
But Mercury in Pisces is definitely the sort of mute, creative, in the mind, telepathic one. And Uranus is in Taurus, so it's that earthy sign of like reality. So like art making, I think this day is so good for art making.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so much practical insight. I think, like we were saying, for both of these reasons on this day, things that have felt foggy or directionless, we are going to have some breakthrough. You're going to have some clarity. I'm longing for this moment specifically. Like, how do you make it? If you're wondering how to merge all these things into one, like I've got this over here, this over here. I don't see how all the pieces fit together. Maybe there's like this realization of like everything's clicking into place.
Ooh, I need that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Well, and I love this moon for prayer, for meditation, for sort of any kind of spiritual ceremony, anything that you want to initiate, that you're serious about initiating, but that might seem not far-fetched is the word, but oftentimes the things that we are most deeply excited by, we're also the most afraid of.
100%. I was just
Ooh,
going to say
yes.
that.
And then getting to that place where you're like, okay, hold on, I'm going to have a breakthrough, but I really need to set my intention.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to, if I do get to the privilege of experiencing a breakthrough, which is like always a very exciting feeling, knowing that it will come within me, because I feel like I always have the answers within me, but all along, right? But it's just like so much self-doubt and disillusion about who we are and who we think we are, and not looking externally for answers, but, still having faith, like still believing in that magic and like that unknown, but also knowing that I could reach the clarity to find the answers in the unknown in me. So having that breakthrough.
Yeah. It always existed within you. It was
Yeah.
always there. Just a matter of Trusting
harnessing
it,
it.
believing
Yeah,
it.
trusting it. That's a great word.
And then like planting the seed and
Yes.
actually trusting it to grow, working with it every day. Because I think really like a seed metaphor is interesting to me because we plant it, we know that it goes in the ground. We can't see the magic that
No.
like the earth is doing, that the universe is working, but you tend to it. Like,
Right.
you have to water it. You know that it has to have sunlight. You know that certain things, like you are a participant in the process. If you want a certain kind of thing to germinate and then take root. So that's like our work is just to tend to the dreams. We don't have to control it. We don't have to make it happen. The universe is doing all of that.
Right.
One of the things I love about the seed metaphor in this particular moon too is that seeds, what's funny about them is they are immortal until they become alive, and then they are not. And it reminds me of Castor and Pollux, of the Gemini twins.
Yes.
And Jupiter is right there. And so there's something kind of like amazing about all possibilities existing, like in a timeless way. But then us choosing to use this embodied experience to inhabit or project or express a possibility, like that's the choice. You can choose something, right? You can make the choice, but then that choice once made is also real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Oh, I
has
love
a
that.
time limit, or like there's it becomes boundaried, or it becomes
Its
something.
own timeline,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I saw this clip on Instagram, and it was a florist talking about flowers for Valentine's Day on like the Drew Barrymore show or something. And he was saying, there was someone who was like, well, what are all the tricks to like keep your flowers alive longer? Like we've heard, put like bleach in the water, put vodka in the water. Like, what is the trick? And the florist was like, I'm going to tell you something, which is that flowers are not meant to last. They are meant to bring our attention to the present moment and cherish them while they're here, and then they die.
Damn, that's
And
beautiful.
that is like, it's all about, no, it's not about making it last forever. It's about appreciating the moment
Yes.
you have.
Yes.
And so don't waste this precious moment.
Yeah,
that.
we're free to choose, but bound by the choice. So
Exactly.
like, make the choice you honest to God believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing before we transition to the top 3 transits, I was thinking as backwards as reality is, like the Saturn Neptune stuff is becoming so obvious and in our faces with all the like any headlines. Just check them all out. They're weird as fuck. Like you're just looking around like, what is going on? But then I flipped it on its head and I'm like, okay, if we can have a large orange man with horrible self-tanner who's running around acting like a fascist with a red hat on, making every decision for every person, then why can't I be an astrologer who's in Central Texas publicly being a business?
Exactly.
You can take weird, insane possibilities that are now obviously they're playing out, like there's weird, insane energy. But then like, why not make your own?
Yeah.
Yes, he's
Ooh.
proving that nobody is actually bound by
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah, you have your own magic. You
We
just need to
are
harness it.
limitless, and
Yes.
everything is available to us. The only thing holding us back is ourselves, our own damn selves.
Mhm.
Yes.
So if like run at that thing, go get that thing.
Hell yeah.
Let Neptune surprise you with illusions and disillusions. Like let's freaking
explore
go.
it. Yeah, explore the mystic. Like explore the unknown.
Open yourself up to
Yeah.
it, and it probably will come from within yourself.
Mhm.
There will be something that is deep within you that maybe you've never let yourself even voice.
Yeah.
That is this moon.
Beautiful. Oh, how lovely.
Speaking of lovely, let's break for a word from our most lovely sponsors.
We love you guys.
So much.
Easy Sun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with Easy Sun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com. Join the Daily High Club, the premier destination for glass, water pipes, vaporizers, and accessories. Since 2015, we've sold over 1 million quality products and teamed up with legends like Snoop Dogg and Tommy Chong. Ready to elevate your smoking game? Visit dailyhighclub.com for our El Primo subscription box or shop unique pieces today.
Your data is like gold to hackers. They're selling your passwords, bank details, and private messages. McAfee helps stop them. Secure VPN keeps your online activity private. AI-powered text scam detector spots phishing attempts instantly. And with award-winning antivirus, you get top-tier hacker protection. Plus, you'll get up to $2 million in identity theft coverage, all for just $39.99 for your first year. Visit McAfee.com. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
We are now back with our top 3 transits of this lunar cycle. The first one being Venus stationing retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries on Saturday, March 1st at 6:37 p.m. Central Time. Aries being our cardinal fire sign ruled by Mars, the first sign, represented by the ram and ruling the head, the eyes, the adrenals, and the blood. How are we feeling about this Venus station retrograde in her difficult sign of fire?
Well,
probably a little impulsive, a little what's the word I'm looking like? Hot-headed, maybe. Yeah,
reactive.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When a sign is in its, or a planet is in its detriment, it always like struggles with its like characteristics. It struggles being itself, basically.
Right.
So, harmony, beauty, receptivity, all of that is getting wrapped up in this Aries energy, which is independence, action, self-interest. Like, it's all about the self-promotion,
Right.
me. So this could end up being good for some people when it's like, no, you need to be healthy, selfish. You need to do some self-care. You need to assert your needs and wants
Right.
in a relationship.
Boundaries.
Yeah. But it can also be very much like you were saying, like overreacting, kind of taking something and running with it, making up a story in your head and getting really mad about something that isn't even real.
Well, I feel like for me, I'm kind of worried about like regression on like how I used to like
So well said.
treat
So
love,
well
like,
said.
or like behave like in
Yes.
love, because when
Oh,
you know
gosh.
that like toxic love.
Immature.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that, like
Oh, yeah.
lust, which is a funny word, but like, like that toxic lust, love, like, regressing back to those when I didn't fully love myself
Yeah.
and respect myself enough.
Old patterns and even
Yeah.
old lovers coming back up.
Ugh.
Especially
The exes.
old lovers from late winter / spring of 2017.
Go away.
I saw that. I was
Go
like,
away.
ew.
We don't need that.
Forget these people.
I'm gonna be in my house.
No, to play on what you were saying though, April, I think that this retrograde can be really good for certain things like asserting yourself, right? Or doing self-improvement projects or remembering old favorites, especially since it's a moon in Pisces and we're going to be nostalgic AF. Or practicing. Like I love Venus retrograde in Aries for like practicing something you love but maybe aren't good at yet. So a little bit of that beginner's mind,
Yeah.
beginner's vibe.
That
and-
passion, that excitement to like try something new.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or to like make an honest go of something that
Yeah.
maybe you've tried and like been like, oh, I'm not good at that. I don't play violin well. And you're like, well, you tried it one time.
And you still have the violin. Why,
Right.
why not fuck around with it?
Yeah.
Find
Dust
out.
it
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Fuck around and find out. I like that.
That is Venus retrograde in Aries.
Totally.
Absolute. This is the finding
It could
out
be
part.
bad or good.
Yeah.
It depends.
I know, right? Maybe
Yeah.
just don't get married.
You know,
overtly.
Don't make any rash decisions.
Don't make any permanent decisions.
Yeah.
Don't get a tattoo on your face.
Yeah, but you can have fun.
Just impulse buy
Right?
something small.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think buyer's remorse is also a thing that
Right.
comes up during retrogrades. Like if you do a big purchase, make sure you save the receipt.
Yeah.
Well, and as well, we have to remember that this Venus in Aries is being ruled by Mars currently in fall and still retrograde in Cancer. So like, oh wait, no, Mars turned direct. Sorry. February
Yeah, I'm like,
23rd.
Mars is actually finally
direct, but still, it's in its fall.
It's in its
Still
fall.
in Cancer.
So there might be like a little bit of reactiveness, like being reactive. And sometimes, like, to use the example of an impulse buy, it might be like, well, I had a bad day at work, so I'm going to just buy this Birkin bag. And
Right.
you're like, do you really want to spend that much money?
I'm gonna eat this whole box of chocolates to like make myself
Yes.
feel
Oh,
better.
literally. Yeah.
Yeah. Regression, to
Yeah.
your point. Like, I know this isn't good for me, but it makes me feel better.
But like in the
right now.
moment, I don't care about the consequences. I just want to feel better for a little bit.
Oh, Venus in Aries does not care about the consequences. You're so
And there
right.
might be a lot depending on the directions you choose.
on how big the temper
Yeah.
tantrum was.
That's true.
Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah, the bigger the reaction, the bigger the
Yep.
consequence later.
Yeah.
The like more you explode, the more you have to apologize for.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Venus will remain retrograde in Aries until it re-enters Pisces on March 27th. So we only have like, a hot 3 weeks or so of this Venus retrograde in Aries. But I mean, they could be a hot 3 weeks.
Yeah. Like literally, you might burn your hand.
Yeah, right. Touch the stove.
Yeah.
Is it hot?
I can't tell.
Let's see. Speaking of Aries stuff.
Oh, Mercury enters Aries on Monday, March 3rd at 3:04 a.m.
Man, all this Aries energy. I'm a natal Venus in Aries, so I'm like fired up
Lots
right
of
now
Pisces and
about
Aries
this.
energy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's worth mentioning that Mercury is peregrine in Aries, and I haven't said the word
Oh yeah.
peregrine on
I
this
was
show
going to ask
before.
you to define peregrine.
So planets that are peregrine have neither inherent dignity nor debility. So they don't have any like major resources, but they don't have any major restrictions either. They're kind of like free agents or just neutral actors. So Mercury doesn't have any major power-ups in Aries, but it's not carrying around any like burdens or weights. So it gives this kind of like a, let me just put it this way. It's an upgrade from Pisces.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
No more echolocation telepathy.
Oh my gosh, that's good.
But Mercury will also station retrograde in Aries. So again, these two retrogrades that we're gearing up for, one just happened, but one is about to happen. So Mercury will station retrograde on March 15th, which means we only have a couple of weeks of Mercury direct in Aries. And I think it's important to remember that we will come back to everything we're thinking about. Absolutely everything. Second opinion needed.
Okay.
Yeah, edits, revisions, getting that second opinion, that second set of eyes. We're not going to be able to just move through these things and like smooth sail right out of them. It's going to be revisiting, revising. I was thinking, with all this Mercury Aries dynamics, expect conversations to be honest, unfiltered, and straight to the
I
point.
was gonna say like blurting out.
Direct, blurting out the truth or saying something really suddenly, really blunt honesty. It might be that like you've been dancing around the elephant in the room, the
Right.
truth that no one is ready to name, and finally someone's just going to call it
Yeah.
out and
Saying what you
say
think.
it. Say
Yeah.
what you think. Yeah.
I think there could also be some honesty that has been previously avoided.
Oh
to your
yeah.
point.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
admissions,
Admissions. Yeah.
or sort of maybe even someone asking a direct question to which they don't anticipate the depth of the answer.
Yeah. They're like, oh shit, I didn't ask for all that.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think though it's good for truth telling. Like I love honesty with Mercury and Aries. I love also like the boldness,
Mhm.
and it has this. It lends itself to integrity.
Yeah. Speak truth to power.
Yeah.
And we just because it's in Aries doesn't mean we have to be like ramming people in the head with our
No.
words. Like we can totally say it in a way that's both direct and kind, but maybe like a little bit more, brief.
Yeah. And standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes, I literally have that down like do's, speak up for
Oh, yeah.
yourself, trust your instincts, start new projects, be
Yes.
assertive in negotiations, express your passions. I also like to riff on what you were saying, Rachel, like the Brene Brown clear is kind mantra is perfect for this. So just because you're being direct doesn't mean you're not kind, and actually being clear is being kind. Because when you give out vague or unclear instructions or expectations, that's not supporting the other person who's trying to like show up and meet your needs. So clear is kind.
Okay. Oh, I like that.
Speaking of
Clear is
Brene
kind.
Brown, she makes me think of like being succinct, right? So in one of her books, she has the phrase paint done. So if you're asking someone do X and it's like, well, paint done, what does that actually look like?
Yeah.
And I think Mercury and Aries can be really clear about that.
Mhm.
What does done mean to you? Yeah, we talked about this recently in a meeting. Like, telling someone ASAP means nothing because that means something different to everybody. So you need an actual, I need X done by Y.
Okay.
And like, can let me know if that doesn't work for you. You know?
Like a open, like leaving an open line of communication.
Yeah, leave an open line of communication, but be clear about, I expect this
Yeah.
by this time.
Don't hold back your
Yeah.
expectations.
And this reminds me of the aphorism in sales, like when someone is buying, stop selling.
Mm-hmm.
Like more words is not better.
Yes.
When you are
I
at
love
the
that.
airport and you're like, do you have anything to declare? The answer is no.
The answer is no. And no
Yeah.
is a complete sentence.
That is a statement.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm going to use that. No is a
Hell yeah.
complete sentence.
No is a complete sentence.
That's going to be my Mercury retrograde in Aries go-to. No.
No.
Complete
Just
sentence.
no. Mic drop.
Speaking of the negative, how about our third transit?
Yeah. So Sun will be conjunct Saturn at 22 degrees of Pisces on Wednesday, March 12th at 5:28 a.m. Central Time. Pisces, again, we know is a mutable water sign ruled by Jupiter. Pisces rule in Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini. So this is an interesting, fun, not so fun place for Pisces to be. So think about personal overwhelm, conflicts of interest, confusion, crises of belief. I love this, like analysis paralysis or too many options, the paradox of choice, being just overwhelmed by many.
Love that. I'm always overwhelmed already. So can't wait.
And I think this Sun-Saturn conjunction, or cazimi, whenever any planet connects with the sun, it's doing its cyclic reset, and we call that a cazimi. So if you hear anyone say Mercury cazimi, Saturn cazimi, that's what it is. But it can help us to realize where we are, overwhelmed, or where we are, having an issue, or where we are in a crisis. Sometimes it's hard to see until you have a moment where you're like, oh my God, I'm paralyzed.
Yeah.
What do I do? Yeah, it's like, what do
Yeah.
you do in that moment too?
And you might not have even known.
Yeah.
It might have been like, wait, I'm just realizing how much I've been stuffing down
Yeah.
this
Jesus
whatever
Christ.
feeling, for so long. Especially because Saturn, so by the time everybody hears this, Saturn will have gone past its retrograde shadow. So it was retrograde in Pisces, and, it takes a long time. A lot of these outer planets are retrograde and direct for lengthy periods of time. But it has cleared its shadow, and it's about to enter, Saturn is the third decan of Pisces. So this is new. And when the sun finds Saturn, it's going to be like, hey, welcome to the new lessons. Have you been learning them?
Yeah. Hope you're ready.
Yeah. And I think it could highlight some of the places where we as a society are just having a hard time. And I think we're having a hard time with Jupiter stuff. So
I think we
belief,
are. Yeah.
faith,
Mm-hmm.
good leadership.
Oh my gosh.
Who are the teachers? Who are the authority figures
Come
that
on.
we're paying attention to?
Yes.
Speak it, girl.
And
Goddamn.
are those people bringing us together or driving us apart? Because Pisces is the sign of unity.
Mm.
Yeah.
100%.
I feel like we are incredibly divided right now, more than like
Yeah.
what's normal. Like, there's always some sort of division, but like it's like drastic.
Yeah. I was really connecting with this, and just to that end, this process of grief and connecting
yeah.
with grief, like actually feeling everything you've been shoving, like Rachel was just saying. But it's like grieving the loss of leaders, grieving the loss of all of these potential, opportunities. It's just, I could feel like this, I could see this bringing some melancholy, some nostalgia, some like going deep and watching like The West Wing,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
Or being just deeply introspective. And again, it's like, feel it. You need to feel it. Grief is such a real thing, and it will come up at unexpected times. And it's wild, like what things we need to grieve.
Yeah.
So in no way do I want you to bypass that feeling. But at the same time, we know that we do better when we hydrate, when we set boundaries. There are things you can do to support yourself. And so you don't have to get sucked into kind of the like mosh pit of grief.
Yeah.
You
like
can
the deep pits.
I like that.
Yeah.
The mosh pit of grief.
Literally. And it's like, I think there's also an understanding of like with any sort of change, there's always going to be grief. So I think just
Right.
knowing that like can maybe prepare you a little bit, no matter what kind of change it is and how it might impact you.
Exactly. Like as we were talking earlier about setting these intentions and making that choice, then you have to maybe grieve a choice you're not making anymore. And letting that go.
Yeah. Ooh.
I think that's the perfect way to describe the lessons of Saturn and Pisces is with change, there is grief.
Yes.
And it's grief of what was and what cannot be.
Yeah.
And that's so profound.
Really, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think about like ending a relationship last year and there were all these dreams attached. And, you know, I don't want that at all. But there was a huge part of me that it's like, okay, now I have to let go of all of these potential scenarios that I had attached
It's no longer an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be very deeply refreshing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even though there is a grief process, that purgation or that purification, I think purification is a better word for it, that when things become crystallized, you can really understand their core and their purpose. Like as that relationship becomes clearer in hindsight, you're like, okay, I see why everything.
Oh, I see why everything.
Right. And in that moment, it was like, it's like cleaning a wound, right? Getting all the nasty stuff. And it's not fucking fun. It's going to sting. It's going to burn. It's going to hurt. It's going to be tender. It's going to be raw. But it's going to be, tender. But once you clean it off, it's like the healing can actually begin, right?
Exactly. Get the impurities out so that you can actually make the progress.
Yeah.
And I think that highlights the Saturn theme of responsibility. You have a responsibility to heal yourself.
Oh my God, yeah.
You also have a responsibility to do the good that you can in society, like that civic responsibility.
Yes.
I don't want to say we have spiritual responsibility, but we probably kind of do.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Our karmic energy, whatever we're putting
accountability.
out. Yeah. Pisces wants to just like be that like intuitive, everyone kumbaya, like everybody gather hands. But Saturn is like, great, you sang the song, now go march, go execute, go make change.
What can you build together?
Yeah.
What can you change together? I like that.
And I think that's a phenomenal lesson for all of the Saturn Kazemi moments is that there's something to take forward, but there's also something to never take again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that. Let it go.
So I am also looking forward to our next lunation, though it's going to be a doozy.
Yeah, tell us. Give us a preview, Rachel.
It is a full moon total lunar eclipse in Virgo happening on March 14th. It is our first eclipse in that Virgo Pisces axis.
This is a whole new axis. We were doing Taurus and Scorpio for a long time.
A new slate.
Mm-hmm.
And
about damn time.
Full moon total lunar eclipse. It's like, all right, this is a big one. And it will be visible here in the U.S. It's going to happen about 2 a.m. So if you're in the central time zone and you want to just stay up or go out and look at it, I'm personally not going to.
Yeah, I probably won't either.
My stepdaughter is like, I'm going to stay up and do it. I think it's just going to be a very weird time, though, for established patterns and also for personal and community organizations. Because eclipses are major disruptions to regular programming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think with that Virgo stuff, it'll be, you know, like the things that we've been talking about, the dismantling of USAID.
A restructure,
How are school systems? How are
the education department.
Transportation systems. You know, how are all these things going to work?
Yeah.
And March 14th, I mean, middle of the month, it'll be the first of 2 eclipses because then we have the very last one on the Aries Libra axis. So
it's exciting.
I mean,
wild times.
This is this moon in Pisces is the last one before like some major strap-in energy.
Oh gosh. Well, enjoy it, y'all.
At least we have each other.
We do have each other.
Let's pray and chill.
Yes, please. Well, it's been real, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. See you next time.
See you next time.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.